Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of News in Motion. Today is Wednesday, October 4th, 2023. If you are tuning in through any of our streaming platforms, whether it be Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, we just want to say thank you for tuning in. For our audio and podcast listeners, keep your eyes on that road, but we want to say thank you for always listening in to NIM Today. Media outlet for your relevant commentary and call to action news. We will be joined shortly by Miss Gail Daly, but first let's give a few shout outs to some of our viewers. Shout out to Miss Marianne Jackson, who is tuning in through YouTube. Shout out to Miss Adrian, who is also tuning in through YouTube. Y'all, the YouTube people be coming in here early. I know on the YouTube side they have a little premiere where they can still be inside but still chat. So good morning to all of our YouTube viewers. Miss Tracy Newmy. Good morning, Miss Shirley Nicholson, who is tuning in through Facebook. Good morning, Mr. Robert Holman, Dr. Antoinette Skies. Good morning to you, and good morning to Miss Doctor. Let me put some respect on her name, Dr. Monica Lowe, who is tuning in through LinkedIn. How are you doing this morning? How has everybody's week been? We are in the middle of the week. Happy Hump Day to everyone. And then again, it is Wednesday, October 4th, 2023. So, without further delay, y'all know what we do here. Let's get ready for some news in motion.
News in motion.
What's up, everyone? I am trying to catch all these names. Y'all are rolling in here. I know I saw Pastor Alex come in here. I've seen Fred Jones, Deborah Johnson, Victoria, what's up? Hester's in here. My brothers come in here. I do see you, Dr. Monica Lowe. Good morning to you. There's someone else I saw pop in here. They're coming through so quickly. And then I also received a notice that, and I don't know which Westerville school, but there's a Westerville high school class in here. So good morning to you as well. I do want to say to the teacher, I was trying to read the note. The inspirational message usually does not come to the end, and we understand that you'll have to come off at that point. You can check out whenever you want to, but the inspirational message usually comes to the end. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not going to say anything about God in between hand, but you asked that question, so I do want to let you know that. So good morning. Yeah, man, what was yesterday? Okay. Yeah, this is America. This is America. So much is going on. I have a lot to get to. We're going to spend a bulk of our time on something that I kept receiving questions. I was receiving questions through text messages, through DMs. People were hitting me up, calling me like, hey, can you tell us what's about to happen? So I'm going to bring all of that to you. I spent many hours looking this up for all of you because I choose to. I see you, Elizabeth Towns, coming in here as well. So it's my pleasure to look for these things. I get a unusual joy behind this. Just yesterday was trying real hard not to cuss here. Yesterday was just a circus. It was I was going to say it was a show. And I don't know where we're headed. I have no idea where we're headed. But before I get into that, a reminder, I shared this with all of you yesterday. You're starting to see it more out there, but in case you have not seen it or you don't remember, yes, Dr. Antoinette, House of Chaos. There is a FEMA emergency alert system and wireless emergency alerts that's happening this afternoon. So 1:20 in Central Time, 2:20 Eastern, 11:20 Pacific Time. Cell towers will broadcast a test for approximately 30 minutes. Now, there was some new information that came out that said it may not be a full 30 minutes. Depending upon your zone, it may only be off for like 5 to 10 minutes. But just know your phone's not going to work this afternoon. Again, 1:20 Central Time, 2:20 Eastern Time, 11:20 Pacific Time. And you, for consumers, the message will appear on your phones that will read, "This is a test of the National Wireless Emergency Alert System. No action is needed." That will pop up. Maybe you'll be good where once it pops up, yours will go off in 3 to 5 minutes. Others of you, they were saying approximately 30 minutes. So again, I don't know if that's going to be a rolling thing or all at once. There's been people who have been pushing back on that, saying you cannot shut down everybody's phone for 30 minutes, which I agree with that. That's a little wonky. But hey, we don't know, but I just want to let you know this. It's not that you didn't pay your bill or anything like that. That's just what's happening. I see you, Felicia Williams. I see you, Shardinia. I see you, Dr. Antoinette. All right, y'all. So now for the headlines. Wow. What a day. What a day. First in U.S. history, Kevin McCarthy has been ousted as Speaker. Less than 9 months. When we say 9 months, less than 9 months. The vote was 216 to 210. Moving forward, it is all about the math. It's all about the math. If you remember back in January when it took 15 ballots, it was all about the math. Now there's some concerns because watching and looking at the alerts afterwards, they're trying to push this through. We're going to get to that in a moment. They're trying to push this through, but the problem is we're in the middle of former Senator Dianne Feinstein's funeral. So Pelosi's in California. Others are wanting to go to California for their time of grieving and everything for the funeral. Well, if they're not in the chamber, they can't vote. So just want to put that out there. If they're not in the chamber, they cannot vote. Now, even yesterday, if you all do the math, 216, 210 does not come to 435. Understand there are 2 vacancies, which means there were 7 people who weren't in the room. They didn't get to cast their ballots. 7. So keep that in mind. So we have Representative Patrick McHenry, Republican from North Carolina, is now serving as what we call the Pro Tem. Okay. Now he's considered the first of the backup, the lineup. And it wasn't an envelope that McCarthy turned in. So they still accepted that. They did not have to accept McHenry because McCarthy had him lined up, but they did. There were 8 Republicans who joined the 208 Democrats in voting out McCarthy. Now, here's something we need to understand. Okay, Elizabeth says not even long enough to produce a baby. Well, there's that. But y'all, I want y'all to slow down a little bit. Just slow down a little bit because I'm not sure that it's gonna look rosy in a few days. So hold on, just hold on. So, one thing is for sure, we have Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, who even through the time of the argument, the debate, you had Democrats standing up to defend McCarthy. And then even some House Republicans were standing up for the Democrat side, asking for the Republicans not to oust uh, the speaker. However, Hakeem Jeffries is a leader because when it came to vote, they all voted in unison, like boom, 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 one after another. Yes. They were like, get him out of here. Yes. Okay, hold on. Let me slow down. Let me pause because I get real excited about this. So they all got in line with him. It was chaotic because even when the House Republicans would stand for their debate, and most of them received 2 minutes, some of them received 3 minutes. There was one gentleman, I cannot find his name, but there was one gentleman who held up his cell phone and called Matt Gaetz out. He pulled up his phone. He said, and it said Gates on top of his phone. I said, oh, what a great picture. He said, but as soon as you filed this motion, you've been raising money. How many millions have you raised already? I said, well, there's that. I said, it's just chaotic. It's just chaotic. Good morning, Judy Neal. Good morning, Karen. So many of you asked me questions. So class is in session. Let's work through this. And again, Westerville High School, thank you for hanging out with. And again, I don't know which district you're in, so which area. So y'all, my research, so that you know, and I had to go old school with y'all and pull out the real type paper from from the House of Representatives. I went straight to the government website, went used my press pass to get all this kind of information. You can get this too. I just got the real printout. Y'all see that? And I got all my notes on here. So I'm going to slow walk us through this. All right, here's my source. The House of Representatives, the U.S. House of Representatives, the U.S. Constitution, the U.S. Code of Law. That's some fascinating read. I also went to the history and archives of the U.S. Copyright Office, the U.S. Government Publishing Office, and the Congressional Research Services. I didn't go to the articles. I went straight to the source. All right. So the number one question that so many people asked me on yesterday is, can you be a speaker if voted in? Yeah, anybody can become speaker. You can become speaker. If your name was put on the floor from an official of the U.S. House of Representatives and you garnered the most votes, you can become speaker. People are asking, can Hakeem Jeffries become speaker if he's not in the majority party? He can't. They can slip up because it's all about the math. It can slip up. Now, no conspiracy theory, but I had this thought because Kevin McCarthy and some of his allies are so angry. And several of his allies have already said they're not running for re-election. They could really flip this whole script and vote for Hakeem Jeffries. Now they probably won't do that, but that could happen. Now, the reason I said to Elizabeth Town, slow down a minute, slow down a minute, slow down a minute. The number one name they're voting that they're floating, excuse me, is the former guy. That's a little scary. So I need the courts to go ahead and do what y'all need to do to make sure he can never hold office again. But his name has come up. The second name in line is Jim Jordan. I live in Ohio. Y'all don't want Jim Jordan in this spot. So again, I started thinking, like, was this all done on purpose? Like, what's really happening here? What's really going on? And we don't know. And I just want to throw that out there. I'm just having fun. I'm just having fun. But we don't know. All right, y'all. The Speaker of the House does not have to be from the majority party. The Speaker of the House position does not have to be held by the leader of the majority party. They don't even have to be a member. Again, it could be any of us. The person must only be nominated and receive a majority of votes for members. So, for example, Article 1, I'm going to give y'all this because I want y'all to understand how this works. Article 1, Section 2 of the U.S. Constitution says, and I quote, House of Representatives shall choose their speaker and other officers. But now it's really vague, and I read this several times. Again, I'm in Article 1, Section 2 of the U.S. Constitution. It's vague on who can actually hold the position. Like, do you not have to have any background, any education? You can just come off the street and serve this role. Well, it looks like you really can. Elizabeth said, are you kidding me? No, I'm not kidding you. So, y'all, a guide on the House procedures published by the U.S. Government Publishing Office, that's the GPO, says the Speaker is the only House officer who traditionally has to be chosen from a sitting member of the House. However, other names have been floated before, and I'll get to some names in a moment. So then I went back down to the U.S. Constitution and the U.S. Government Publishing Office, and it says the Speaker is a presiding officer of the House of Representatives and is responsible for maintaining order and managing proceedings of the House. The Speaker of the House is also, y'all, by the way, let me put this out here. Because I looked this up and I was like, is this for, like, even in this chaos, this can happen. Yeah, if something was to happen to President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris at the same time, who's going in there? Because right now, so the pro tem supposed to, but is the pro tem qualified? Well, was Kevin McCarthy qualified? Let's just be real here. Who's going in there? So even with this, we have to think, critical thinking here. When we're voting for people in the office, we also have to say to ourselves, they could become president if they become speaker. So then the question came up, and I don't have the answer to this yet, Victoria. I'm looking for it. Is so if let's say I got voted in, wouldn't that be hilarious? Let's say I got voted in. So could I become the president just out of the blue? Yes, to my understanding, you can. I'm like, this is a little interesting. We need to tighten this legislation up right here because this is a little interesting. So, y'all, the name so far that's come out again, Jim Jordan, the former guy, number one, the former guy, number two, Jim Jordan, number three, Steve Scalise. Now we know Steve Scalise is having some health issues right now, and we don't even know if he's interested. So let's just hold on. Let me keep going. Now the position doesn't have to be held by the leader. Because if y'all remember, 2023 in January, Hakeem Jeffries was on the nomination board. And it was going back and forth between he and McCarthy. And then sometimes there was a third person on the list. Now, in 2013 and 2015, y'all connected all my dots here for y'all. In 2013 and 2015, former Secretary of State Colin Powell was nominated. Yeah, and this is from the Congressional Research Services. That's the CRS. And y'all may remember they kept mentioning the CRS if y'all were watching this yesterday, talking about the numbers. So Colin Powell. In 2019, Senator Tammy Duckworth from a Democrat from Illinois was selected. Joe Biden has been selected, nominated. I'm sorry, not selected, nominated for that speakership. In 2015, Senator Rand Paul of a Republican in Kentucky was nominated to be Speaker, even though he wasn't a member of the House. Okay. According to the U.S. Publishing Office, GPO, the Speaker is the only House officer that there's just this flexibility. You can go wherever with this. Good morning. Kim Edmondson says you vote for me. Listen here. If I was in there, I'd be like, all y'all sit down. Take a seat. This is what we're doing today. And I would tell everybody all the time, you're out of order. Sit down. Yeah, they would put me out. Good morning, Jeffrey Allen James. So y'all, listen, according to the House Archives, I want us to get this. The speaker position has always been held by a House member, which was first elected in 1789. I went all the way back there, y'all, because I wanted to connect these dots. I wanted to see it. Now, again, I said earlier, it's all about the numbers. Yesterday, the reason they let it go was supposed to have reached 217. They only made it to 216. But whatever procedure they have, and you have so many procedures you can follow, they were allowed to just say, we're done here. We're not going to do this over and over again. So they took the 216. Okay, they took the 216. If y'all remember back in January, the math wasn't mathing. That's how we want to say it. And the numbers kept fluctuating because they were never reaching that golden number of 218. And 218 comes from the House being 435 people. But remember, there are two vacancies. So that changes the numbers. That takes it down to 217. But again, they took 216 on yesterday, which there was something, and they just didn't do it. There was a procedure that allowed them to make that shift. All right, y'all. Candidate must receive the majority of the votes, but they have to hit that number. Again, that golden number right now, to my understanding, is 217 to 218 out of the 435. There are two vacancies. And then where do I want to go? No, if no candidate wins the majority, voting continues until a speaker is selected. We've experienced that already. All right, so let me get to this. This is like in the Library of Congress. So let me get to this. Now, I'm going to give you the role of the speaker first, because the question is, can the pro tem do what the speaker has done? No. So many people are saying, well, we have the government in this 45-day stopgap, which those days are ticking off. So what's going to happen? Well, the pro tem cannot submit bills. So, and that includes the 12 appropriation bills. So we're in trouble. Hold on. I'm going to tell you how long that the pro tem can stay in spot, because this is going to blow your mind. It blew my mind yesterday. I was like, call your representatives and say, what's going on? All right. The role of this speaker is the presiding officer of the House and is in charge of numerous duties, responsibilities by law, by the House rules. We're talking section 622, section 2 through 8, the majority function. I'm not going to give you all that. All right, y'all. The term of office vacancy. The speaker's term of office begins on his or her taking their oath of office, which immediately follows his or her election and opening remarks. The term ends on the expiration of the Congress. So each year, this happens each year, Congress 117, right now we're in the 118th Congress, in which he or she was elected, unless they resign, die, or have been removed from office. So there's that. Now, there's a lot of highlights over here, so just hold on. The office of Speaker may be declared vacant by resolution, which that happened yesterday at the end. They didn't get 217, but they were still able to consider it vacated by resolution, which is offered as a matter of privilege. And this is from Section 316 and Section 35 under Rule 1, Clause 8B3. Not that y'all need to know all that. Adopted by, this was initially adopted by the 108th Congress, which was only 10 Congresses ago. All right. Speaker chosen from members. Now, this is from out of the Constitution. I want to read this to you all. Article 1, and the reason I'm taking my time with this morning, and I'll probably use my majority of time doing this until I get to the inspirational message, this comes back to how we vote. I think we need to change our mindset with voting, because no one would ever think this happens. Now this is precedent, okay? We can mark this, and we need to start voting for people differently. Like, could they become president? And we don't know until they get in there, until they vote a speaker in there. So Article 1, Section 2 of the Constitution directs that the House chooses its speaker and other officers. The speaker is the only House officer who traditionally has been chosen from the sitting membership of the House. And that's come out of Manual Section 26. The Constitution does not limit his or her selection from among that class, but the practice has been followed continuously. So it's all about who puts this motion on the floor. Now, let's go to Representative Matt Gaetz. A part of the negotiation back in January was that one person can come to the floor and get rid of you. Previously, it's been 3 or more. He want one person. My thing is, McCarthy, he don't like you. Why did you even let that become a negotiation? He doesn't even like you. Now, here's the other thing that we need to understand. The bill that was passed this weekend that put all this stuff in motion, this past weekend that put all this stuff in motion, was due to the fact that there was a bipartisanship. So don't we want bipartisanship? Isn't the focus the people? We the people of these United States of America. Good morning, Lori Wallace. So we have to pay attention to that. Then nomination and vote. The general practice for election of speaker begins with a nomination from each party caucus, followed by a viva voice vote of the members elect, relying on the act of June 1st, 1789. So here's the other thing. They're still following the laws from 1789. The clerk recognized the nominations for speaker. Now, I'm setting us up for the speaker pro tem. So hang with me. Yeah, Kim Edmondson, the House of Chaos. So the speaker pro tem, pending the deposition of certain ethic charges against the nominee of the majority party. And that's what has happened. All right, so the business of the House, real quick. Call to order, refers bills, designated speaker pro tem, which is now McHenry, recognizes members, states a question, supervises the timing, rules on points, makes appointments, certifies to a U.S. attorney person found to be in contempt, declares the House in recess, changes convening times, convenes the House, signs various documents, makes preliminary decisions, determines the presence, announced, yada, 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 yada. There's a lot of those things. I want to get down to Section 6, Speaker Pro Tem. This is where it gets interesting. Y'all, the Speaker may appoint a Speaker Pro Tem, which he did. It was in a envelope, okay? He had 3 names. McHenry from North Carolina was on top of that list. I don't know the other 2. Maybe those have been revealed already. I don't know. Such an appointment, I want y'all to hear this. May not exceed 3 legislative days. Well, the day is day 1, Thursday, Friday. There's people going to the funeral in California. So what's going to happen? Now we know they got their private planes and all those things. Maybe they can get them back. But that's interesting. Hold on. Now, if there's a case of illness, and the Constitution only lists illness, the speaker may appoint or extend it to 10 days. Well, there's no longer a speaker. So who can step in to make that? Is that the parliamentarian person? I'm not finding it. I don't know. So, and there's not a speaker, and he or she is not sick. So they even extend it to 10 days? Let me keep going. Then the House has to approve it. And then Rule 1, Clause 8. For longer periods, a Speaker pro tem is elected by the House. This is out of Manual Section 632. A member sometimes is designated Speaker pro tem by others, but they're not saying who the others are. So I kept digging, and I wondered if the others could be the office of the president. Wouldn't that be interesting? I didn't find an answer. So then they take an oath of office. So under Rule 1, Clause 8, the Speaker pro tem must be a member of the House, and the Speaker pro tem must sign away his or her authority in lieu of a speaker who is selected. So there's a lot of what if, and, buts, so forth and so on. I'm going to put the link in here later for you all to read it on your own. But y'all, this is a mess. So I want to say, with the time I have left, that we need to be mindful and protect our vote. We must protect our vote. Your vote matters. I want to put that out there. Your vote matters. We want to protect our vote. It's really important. So you can go to iwillvote.com to register if you have not become a registered voter, and to check your voting registration. Kim Edmondson says, why are they trying to tear apart our democracy? It's very interesting. It's very interesting at this time. Very interesting. Now, while that was happening here in the United States, lawmakers in the House in Canada, they call it the House of Commons. We got a House of Chaos, and they got the House of Commons. They voted for the first time a Black male Canadian to serve as their country's speaker. So kudos to you all. Sad it's 2023 and you're just not voting for a Black Canadian, but there's that. Our voice, our vote, all of that is important. And when I cannot forget to share with all of you all this morning that the judge in New York has issued a gag order after the former guy attacked one of his clerks on Truth Social. The dude featured her with a link to her Instagram site. And then his people went after and looked her up and put her address and everything else on it. So they gagged him, but his posse all around him, his tribe all around him, are continuously going after attacking her. I believe she now has security. And if I can share this one last thing, U.S. job openings, this is coming out of Bloomberg, unexpectedly increased in August. They say this is fueled by a surge in white collar postings and highlighting the durability of American labor demand. The number of available positions increased to 9.61 million from a revised 8.92 million in July. And these are coming from the Bureau of Labor Statistics as they revealed those on yesterday. So this is what's happening. We got all kinds of things happening. Pastor Anita says our vote and our voice is important. Absolutely. I took my time through this, and I still even rushed through it in this 20 minutes that I had, because we need to understand this. I am of the belief that we vote differently when we get a clear understanding and not just receiving propaganda, commercials, spins. That's why I'm always pushing town hall meetings. I'm always pushing do your research. I'm always sharing the links. I'm always telling you all not to listen to me. Seriously, go, I want you to listen to me, but go and find out, okay, is Gail really sharing what, is this the truth? Go look this up for yourself so that you have the education. Now, in any church service, they would just pass the plate, like, after the person gave, all this information, all this content. They would just say, pass the offering plates. So, y'all can always say, well, we're going to sow in the Gail if you choose. You don't have to. So with that, I do want to move to the inspirational message before we get out of here. So Westerville High School, thank you for joining us. I know you have to go. You can't be on at that time. So if you do, I see that popped up. If you do, is you can always cash app, and I'm real funny about that. But you can always cash app to MIM today. Well, there you go. Thank you, Isaiah. MIM today, if you choose to. But my goal is to get you this information, whatever that looks like. There were a lot of questions. And I knew that I wanted to address this today. That's what we're here for. Our news is different. We're like no other news platform. We want to give you this information and help you do what you need to do. Adrian says, I have election training this evening in preparation for the November 8th. You mean 7th? Vote? Isn't November 7th? Whatever that Tuesday is. It's just a little more than a month away. Vote. And they are still looking for poll workers. You can go to Power the Polls, I believe. Is that the link, Isaiah? Powerthepolls.org. Powerthepolls.org/news in motion. We're still a partner with them, and you can sign up to get the training, and many of those positions are paid. You can also, if you don't want to do it this November, you can also jump in it now so that you can have the training when it comes to the primary starting in March of 2024 and for the general election for November 2024. So there is that. I am still in the book of Mark. I'm still in the book of Mark. I'm in Mark chapter 10, verse 32. Now, this I thought was deep too. Jesus told them what was going to happen to him: betrayal, condemnation, hand him over, mock him, kill him. 3 days later, he will rise. He gave him details. This is everything that's going to happen to me. These things are going to happen to me, but I'm gonna come back. I'll see you again in 3 days. Actually, it was a little bit longer. And so I said, okay, what's the message today? And the message today is Jesus is always speaking to us, telling us what is going to happen and how it's going to happen, even in the silence. So if you got to label this, let's just say even in the silence. Sometimes we get so frustrated because we're like, I'm not hearing a direct order from God. God's not telling me anything. He's not talking to me in this season. That's where we have to be still and say, okay, what's happening all around me? Because there's some signs, there's some wonders, there's something that's happening that will give you a clue as to what you should do. But you also have to back up because he's already told you. He's not going to have us going around guessing. He told them exactly what was going to happen, when it was going to happen, what was going to happen, who was going to come and do these things. And from those things, they knew. So when all of it happened, I said, wait a minute, I think, I was in a conversation. He told us, but see, but we get so distracted. Oh, it is November 8th. Thank you. I don't know. I've been saying November the 7th. Thank you, Adrian. Well, sometimes we get so distracted that we don't connect the dots, we don't hear, we don't listen. And a lot of that comes from our frustration, our concern, our worry, our fear, even our anxiety. Again, just still away, be still. And say, okay, what? That's why I tell people journal this stuff, journal it, write it down, flip through it, mark it, something. When there's something that's like a light bulb moment, use a post-it note so it flags it, so that when you're going back through the journal, you can pull it out. But he's already spoken. Even in this chaotic thing that we see here in America, God has already spoken. He's already told us what he's going to do, when he's going to do it, how he's going to do it. And y'all stop guessing about it. Just be still and know that he is God. Thank y'all for hanging out with me today. Thank you for being patient as I work through all of this. I just think this is important for all of us to continue to grow and have an understanding. If y'all want to know what these other pages are, I always have stuff from the White House, but I just didn't get to it today. This stuff from the White House is dealing with the drug prices negotiation program. Hopefully I'll get to this tomorrow. If not, I'll get to it next week. But I'm here to give y'all as much information as possible. I see Stephanie Burbridge Hall jumping on here as well. Stephanie Burbridge Hall, y'all, I am still getting y'all's messages. We're going to do a recording as soon as she has the availability, and it will be on the Politics and Prose podcast when it comes to suicide prevention. We hear you. And for some of you, I'm starting to think you need to speak with someone. So, Stephanie, if you can put a number in the chat where people can call if they're going through something. I know y'all can do, is it 988 or 998? Somebody put that in there. It's not coming to me, but there's so many of you asking that y'all hear from her because y'all want to hear what she has to say. I'm discerning that some of you may need some help. So don't wait for a podcast. If there's something you need, reach out to a therapist, a counselor, go to the emergency room if you need to, speak to a friend, let them help you. But if I can get those numbers in the chat, I would greatly appreciate it. And we'll make sure that we'll keep them on the banner so we can keep using them. So whatever phone number y'all need, y'all tell me, somebody in here knows. Is it 998 or 988? What is that number? So we can get that to people. We will get Stephanie on to do an interview on the podcast, and we'll make that available to everyone. And I see no one telling me that number. So hopefully there's a little lag time. So hopefully I'll get that number in a moment. As I'm waiting on that phone number before we sign off, many of you have been asking about the program, manuscripts and mimosas. It's a live Zoom the first Friday of each month. The first one comes up this Friday. It's an exclusive membership. So any type of writing, if you're writing a novel, if you're writing a book, if you're working on a manuscript, or maybe your manuscript is already completed, if you're a blogger, if you're a freelancer, if you're a content writer, you will bring your working projects to the Zoom, to the live Zoom. We'll work through different things. And even if we're not working on yours, you will still gain access and information. It'll give you enough information to go back and work on your own. There's other things that come with that membership. You go to my website, www.gaildudley.com, and click on the icon that says Manuscripts and Mimosas. It's a monthly membership. You can pay by the month. You can pay by the year. You can cancel at any time. It's all automated, so it's there. Thank you, Marion Jackson. Suicide hotline is 988. If Isaiah, yes, thank you. Suicide hotline is 988. So if anyone is needing that, please call that number. Don't wait for us to bring Stephanie on here to do the interview. Contact that number. Reach out to somebody so somebody can help you, and be vulnerable. Be honest, be vulnerable, and share that. Pastor Nita said, God speaks, position to hear. Yep. Deborah Johnson says, great information. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Hester, I see all of you. All right, y'all. That's all the time we have today. Come back here tomorrow. And we'll see, who knows what's going to happen today. But y'all know what I say. Y'all keep moving, make bold moves, and live your life in abundance. We're out.
NewsInMotion.